Welcome back to another NFL preview and predictions video for our 2024 NFL season. The team that we're going to be taking an in-depth look at today is our 2024 Atlanta Falcons football team. We're going to do a complete preview of this team, seeing what pieces they added to this year's squad, what pieces they lost from last year's squad, but also looking at their entire schedule, going game by game, trying to predict the outcome for every single game and what their final record will be at the end of the season. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will make sure to respond. So our 2024 Atlanta Falcons, just to kind of have a basis to what we're comparing things to, Vegas has them coming in at 9.5 wins this year. That's actually a lot. That's pretty good. So you're hovering from 9 to 10 wins. So they basically, I would say they have them making the playoffs this year. So pretty lofty expectations for the Falcons coming into the 2024 season. And let's be honest, deservedly so. This was actually a really good roster last season. They're going to be an even better roster this season. They got better as a total overall roster, namely because they changed quarterbacks. This team's going to be better. The only thing holding them back from being a playoff team last season, they had a good offensive roster, they had a solid defense, was the quarterback rudder. That should not be a problem going into this year. We obviously have a new head coach. We have Raheem Morris coming over. We have two new quarterbacks coming in. You have Kirk Cousins, experienced NFL starter, and you also have the rookie coming in, Michael Penix Jr. from the Washington Huskies in the college ranks. Desmond Ridder could not lead this offense last season. That's what held them back. The guy was too sloppy. They went 7-10. Going 7-10 with this offensive roster, that's an insult. That's a joke. Cousins is not going to have any issues here. All of the knocks on Kirk Cousins, you know what you're getting with him. You're getting 4,000 yards. You're getting 30 to 35 touchdowns every single season. As long as he's healthy, this is easily a playoff team. Cousins did sign a 4-year, $100 million contract in the offseason. Yeah, they did pull that kind of a head-scratcher when they drafted Michael Penix in the first round. That was kind of confusing. I don't really know why they did that. If you're going to sign him in the first round and he's your future, why would you sign Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $100 million contract? That really doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. If Cousins, for some reason, gets hurt, at least there's a very highly drafted quarterback right behind him. But Cousins will be the starter starting out the season. He is a gun-slinging quarterback. He's going to be looking to be pushing the ball down the field, and you have the weapons for him to be able to do that. The new offensive coordinator is Zach Robinson. He's going to be looked to be spreading things out with the passing game. Use the weapons you have, vertically push the ball down the field. We saw a lot of that when he was the passing game coordinator with the Rams. He's going to be bringing that same game plan over to the Falcons. It is going to work wonders with this roster. Now, the Falcons also, obviously to cover all of your bases, they have the running back, Bijan Robinson. They have Algier. That is a deadly 1-2 punch. That's possibly the best, or not one of the best, 1-2 punches for the running back room in the entire NFL. Cousins, we know what we're getting with him, and we know what we're getting with the running game. There's going to be a very deadly team on the offensive side. You have Cousins, you have Algier, Robinson, Kyle Pitts at tight end, Drake London, Mooney, Moore, McLeod. Great playmakers at every single level. We have a 1,000-yard running back, and we have a 1,000-yard wide receiver, and potentially a tight end that could get 1,000 yards. The entire offensive line is back. Obviously, this is going to help the running game. This is going to help the passing game immensely. The defense will also be pretty good. With a head coach who was a defensive coordinator, that's obviously going to get a lot of extra attention on his part. You have Jarrett, you have Onyemata, you have Harrison, Smith-Williams, Carter, Malone, Trice, Ellis, Landman, Anderson, Terrell, Phillips III, Bates. The new defensive coordinator, Jimmy Lake, he's going to have a lot of players to take advantage of in his new scheme. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at their schedule. Let's try to see what we can predict them to do this offseason. During the season, they kick things off Sunday, September 8th versus Pittsburgh. Obviously, Pittsburgh has had a lot of changes, especially at the quarterback position. They always have a solid top 10, top 15 defense. The big thing holding them back the last few seasons has been the offense and the quarterback position. Ever since Ben Roethlisberger left, that's been a massive question mark. That's been the main thing holding them back from making the playoffs some seasons, and the seasons they have made the playoffs, being able to make it into the further rounds. They're going to still have some building blocks there. They're going to be a lot better, but I think the Falcons are going to start out the year hot. They're going to let themselves be known on the national level. They're going to beat Pittsburgh, and they're going to start out the year 1-0. Then Monday, September 16th, so you got the short week there at Philadelphia. So with the Eagles, this is obviously a team that made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. You know, they did kind of falter at the very end of last season. They have a lot of things that they need to work on, but it's a really good roster. They have a good offense, they have a good defense, but things were not clicking last season. Hurts was running for his life. They were banged up. They're probably going to be, a little better than they were last season, but they have a lot of question marks. But I do think they're going to steal this one from the Falcons, but this is a very evenly matched game. But I have the Falcons losing it and going to 1-1. And then after that, you have Sunday, September 22nd versus Kansas City, the defending Super Bowl champs. This is going to be a team that got even better. They added Worthy out of Texas. That's a game changer. He's kind of like Hill. He can push the ball vertically down the field. That was one of their biggest weaknesses, was whenever they push the ball vertically, a lot of guys were dropping it. You're not going to have that issue with Worthy, and you're also still going to have a top 5 defense. It's going to be a really tough game. I have the Falcons losing this one. They're just not ready yet for the Chiefs. They dropped to 1-2. Don't panic. Things are going to start clicking soon. After that, Sunday, September 29th versus New Orleans. Obviously, the Saints were kind of an up and down 500-ish team last season. They'd have some games where the offense would do really well, when the defense would step up, and then the next game, the defense played well, but the offense couldn't get first down. So they were kind of a Jekyll-ish type team. They kind of flip-flop back and forth. I could see that continuing into this season. I don't think they solved a lot of the issues they have. They have really good players. It's just things just never seem to be clicking right. I have the Falcons getting the win here, moving to 2-2. Then Thursday, October 3rd versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a playoff season last year. Baker Mayfield had a really strong season. They also have weapons, obviously. They played really well on defense. They were a run-stopping defense. They had a lot of wide receiver weapons last season. They could push the ball. Baker had a comeback season, cemented himself as a legit starter in the NFL. Could that carry over into this season? Definitely. I think it will. Maybe not on the same level, but that's easily a 9 or 10 win team. But I have the Falcons starting to get hot. They're going to take this one. They're 3-2. And then after that, Sunday, October 13th at Carolina. For the Panthers, they really don't have anything going for them right now. This is still like a 2 or 3 win team at best. They don't have a good offense. They don't have a good defense. They don't have a good roster really in any way whatsoever, and they didn't get better through the draft. So they really don't have anything to look forward to this season. This is an easy win, and the Falcons are 4-2. And then Sunday, October 20th versus Seattle. Seattle was one of those teams, kind of like New Orleans, where they'd have some really good games with Geno Smith, and then the next week would lose. So you really don't, it's kind of hard to base things off. Obviously, they've had a lot of changes roster-wise and on the coaching staff. So I'm going to go with the more solidified team. With the Falcons, with the experienced roster that they're bringing in, I have them winning this one, and they're moving to 5-2. And then Sunday, October 27th, you are at Tampa Bay. So now we're going to Tampa Bay. It's hard to beat a really good team or a decent team twice in one season, let alone twice within 3 or 4 weeks. I have Tampa Bay getting some revenge back at home and beating the Falcons, and the Falcons are 5-3, which is still really good. Then after that, Sunday, November 3rd versus Dallas. Obviously, we know everything that's going on with Dallas. A very talented roster, but maybe a roster that's kind of run its course. You know, they are a veteran roster. They have a massive payroll. They have salary cap issues. They have the quarterback. They have the running back. They have the wide receiver. They have a top 5 defense, but they can never get it together once we're getting towards the playoffs. But this is a really tough team to play during the regular season. I have the Falcons losing this one, and they're 5-4. Then after that, Sunday, November 10th at New Orleans. just like I said, it's hard to beat good teams twice in one season. Here you have New Orleans again, and you're at New Orleans. You're on the road. New Orleans, they're bad one week. They play really well the next week. They lost the first game. I have them winning game 2. Falcons are 5-5. If you're a Falcons fan, do not get concerned. Like I said, they're going to own the second half of the season. After that, Sunday, November 17th at Denver. Denver was kind of a sideshow last season. Coaching-wise, quarterback-wise, too much drama on the field and off the field. They tried to sort some of that out this offseason, but I don't really think they have it going together. I have Atlanta getting back in the win column, winning this one, and they're 6-5. And then Sunday, December 1st, versus the LA Chargers. You have Harbaugh coming into town, completely changing the coaching staff, changing the style of gameplay they're going to have. Chargers were a really good roster, but the coaching staff was holding them back. Their defense should have been a lot better than they were last season. The offense with Herbert should have been a lot better. I have Harbaugh being able to excel at getting the most out of his quarterbacks, getting the defense right. I have the Chargers taking this one, and the Falcons are 6-6. Don't worry. And then after that, Sunday, December 8th at Minnesota. Minnesota, obviously, this is Cousins' old team. This is a personal game. They have J.J. McCarthy. They have Justin Jefferson, but the roster's not as good as it was 2 years ago. I have the Falcons taking this one, and they're 7-6. Then after that, Monday, December 16th at Las Vegas. This could be kind of a slip-up game to me. They might surprise you, but I have the Falcons continuing to win, taking this one, and they're 8-6. Then after that, Sunday, December 22nd, versus the New York Giants. With the Giants, there's a team that came on really strong the last 1 or 2 months of the season last year, but they kind of only came on strong because everyone lost confidence in them. I wouldn't say that they're a bad roster, but they're not a good roster. They're an average roster that if you take that game for granted, they can beat you. I don't think that's going to happen with the Falcons. I have them winning this one, and they're 9-6. So they're really starting to build on their resume. Then Sunday, December 29th at Washington. Washington, not a bad roster. Did not have a good season last year. New coaches, new offense, new quarterbacks. There's a lot of skilled position players there. It's just, can they get it all together? They're going to be better than they were last season, but they're not going to be on the Falcons level. They're going to continue to win. They're going to take this one, and they're 10-6. Then the final game of the regular season, Sunday, January 5th, versus the Carolina Panthers. Like I said, it's hard to beat a good team twice in one season. That does not apply here because the Panthers are not a good team. They're not a bad team. They're an awful team. I'm just being honest. They're not good. Falcons are going to beat them twice in 1 year. I have the Atlanta Falcons finishing the regular season 11-6. So I'm going with the over. Vegas has them at 9.5. I have them coming in at 11-6, making the playoffs. The best Atlanta Falcons team since they made the Super Bowl. So that's our breakdown of the Atlanta Falcons for our 2024 to 2025 season. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.